So along with the task force, we expect to see U.S. Attorney General Pam Bondi and Secretary of War Pete Hegseth in Memphis tomorrow. Our team coverage continues tonight with Action News 5's Griffin Demaray. So Griffin, tell us, what have you learned today?
Yeah, guys, Bondi was on Fox Business earlier this morning where she announced that both she and Hegseth would be making the trip to Memphis. She said they were going to talk with local officials as to what this whole program is kind of going to look like. She also took some time to point the finger at District Attorney Steve Mulroy, saying he's the reason we got to this point.
These are our cities. Memphis is a beautiful historical city, and people are getting killed every day.
Those were the words from U.S. Attorney General Pam Bondi this morning regarding the crime situation in Memphis. As federal aid comes to the Bluff City, Bondi said she will be there herself alongside Pete Hegseth.
We're meeting with all of our troops, meaning all of our federal agents, all of the state police on the ground to show them that we support them. We're meeting with the mayor, all the locals, so we can work hand in hand to make Memphis safe again.
And Action News 5 has confirmed both will be in Memphis on Wednesday. Earlier in the clip, Bondi pointed the finger at Shelby County District Attorney Steve Mulroy, saying it is his fault that the crime has gotten to this level.
Because you have a woke Soros DA there. They're letting people out. They're not holding them accountable. So we're coming in with all of our federal agents, and we are going to charge them federally whenever possible.
Now, we did reach out to DA Mulroy for a statement on it, and he actually changed his mind and gave us a statement on Senator Brent Taylor and what he had to say earlier today, who also had comments. He said, quote, "People should consider the source. The same recycled, misleading gripes gained no traction during his failed year-long campaign to have legislature overturn my election." That's all we know for now. Again, no comment on the Bondi and Hegseth coming to Memphis. But then that's all we got. In downtown, Griffin Demaray, Action News 5.
All right, so in that same interview we just showed you where AG Bondi explicitly called DA Mulroy a Soros DA, that means he took campaign money from George Soros. Now, for reference, Soros, if you did not know, is a billionaire who has poured millions into local elections to reshape America's justice system. The nonprofit Law Enforcement Legal Defense Fund says Mulroy received more than $600,000 connected to Soros. LELDF says Soros spent $50 million in the last decade to, quote, elect scores of social justice prosecutors who often pursue pro-criminal and anti-police policies. Last December, Mulroy told Action News 5 that's not his agenda.
In 2022, during the campaign, $500,000 was spent to falsely portray me as a left-wing radical who wants to let violent criminals out on the streets and defund the police. Not a single one of those things was true.
So at the time, Action News 5 dug into Mulroy's 2022 campaign finances. Soros contributed $280,000 to a political action committee, which spent money on T-shirts, radio and TV ads, and consulting services for Mulroy's campaign. Mulroy denied taking Soros money and being a Soros DA. His term ends September 2030.
It appears what we have is social justice activists who are trying to impede that progress. Is that accurate?
That is accurate. And he has a merry band of restorative justice schemers that are going about trying to make Memphis look like a Mad Max movie, except the cars and the music aren't as good.
That is State Senator Brent Taylor of Shelby County, who also indirectly mentioned DA Mulroy in his address to the Senate Judiciary Committee this morning in D.C. Now, this was the statement from Mulroy's response you just heard Griffin explain. State Senator Taylor testified before some of the top elected officials in our nation about the crime problems in Memphis. Our team coverage ends now with Action News 5's Garner Montgomery, who takes us inside that hearing in Washington today.
This hearing was titled Blue City Chaos and Tragedy, a partisan debate on violent crime in Democrat-led cities and the solutions being pushed by the Trump administration, including the Memphis Safe Task Force. Senator Brent Taylor took the floor to represent Memphis, highlighting the population decreases in Shelby County in response to high crime rates, saying the Memphis Safe Task Force and the deployment of National Guard troops is what Memphis needs to turn things around, bringing down crime to manageable levels that can be maintained once deployment ends. Recommending the U.S. Senate enforces tough on crime policies to protect the livelihoods of urban residents.
Unless we do something, Memphis will hollow out its middle class, and all that will be left are the extremely poor who can't afford to leave and the extremely wealthy who can afford private security to stay.
We need some help, but you got to get at the root causes in the long run. But if Trump comes out and says Memphis is the safest city in the world, that'd be great. Won't be true, but a lot of what Trump says isn't true.
U.S. Representative Steve Cohen also shared his views on Memphis Safe Task Force from a Democrat perspective, saying more resources are needed in Memphis to prevent poverty. Sources, he says, Republicans have been getting rid of. One thing that's been made clear today is that there are a lot of eyes from Capitol Hill directed our way as the president's cabinet and U.S. Congress are looking to make sure that the Memphis Safe Task Force is a success. Reporting in downtown Memphis, Garner Montgomery, Action News 5.
And plenty of eyes are looking back at the U.S. Capitol as well. Midnight is the deadline to prevent a government shutdown. Last week, Governor Bill Lee confirmed that a shutdown would not impact the task force's presence or operations here in Memphis.